I know these videos that I do are highly unpopular. They're distasteful to a lot of people. People get offended. People find them very uncomfortable. You don't want to tune into them. It's always negative. But we should all know at this point in our life, there is no growth until you're willing to pass through the fires of discomfort. We know this in the physical world. Unless you apply pain and stress and resistance to a muscle, it's not going to grow. The same thing happens in the mental and maybe even the spiritual world. Unless you go through things that cause you to gain experience and toughen up so that you can be more resilient for the next round of adversity, you're not going to grow, you're not going to go anywhere, and you're not going to benefit anybody. And unless you're willing to stay with principle, those things that are right, regardless of how people are going to react, regardless if you're going to get a lot of clicks or generate likes and shares, whether anybody's going to follow you or pat you on the back, you just do what is right, regardless of what anybody says, regardless of how you feel, regardless of how the weather is, sunny, stormy, rainy, sleet, it doesn't matter. You're going to do what is right. You're going to continue pressing forward. You're going to continue walking. We have a government that is filled with people who are obsessed with dividing us into groups rather than uniting us as individuals. And that's why I constantly talk about the biggest psychological operation on this planet, because it works simultaneously in every single country, and it is the greatest method of control. Divide and conquer the masses. What's the best way to divide them? Split them off into these little political groups. Those are the leftists, those are the moderates, those are the centrists, those are the extreme right. So now they've compartmentalized us. They've demonized and vilified us in the minds of other people who don't even know us. And then other people make a judgment based on what somebody else in government told them we are. That's going on to an extent with Charlie Kirk here. Now, a lot of people have sent me this video right here by Chase Hughes. The name of the video is Charlie Kirk's Death Exposed, the Biggest Scam in History. And for the most part, he does a really, really good job identifying the psychological operation, and then he completely blows it at the end. I will be going over this in an upcoming video. But know this, Voltaire was right. If you can make someone believe absurdities, you can make them commit atrocities and weave tales and fantasies. As a matter of fact, operating psychologically on the minds of the gullible masses has never been easier. As a matter of fact, it's become so easy and effective. It's got people like Dan from Heavy Duty Country, which I don't have any, I welcome an open dialogue with him. And if he wants to have a discussion, I will have a discussion. But he has got to stop vacillating, going back and forth and being a hypocrite and double speaking, which is what everybody's doing. But the psychological operations have become so effective, so powerful, so easy to move the minds of the masses, including these influencers who have a wide audience, that it's got Dan from Heavy Duty Country saying things like he is prepared to die for Charlie Kirk's wife and he is willing to go to war for her.
I will tell you right now, I am prepared to die for her. I am prepared to go to war for her. I am prepared to do whatever it takes, and nothing will bring Charlie back. But this is a woman that's mourning. Their kids will never see their father again. And for some reason, the left continues to make it a joke.
And then he goes over some examples of leftists who are losing their minds. There are people who would call themselves leftists, some of whom are just completely losing it over celebrating a man's death, celebrating a murder. And on the other side, you have people who want to enshrine Charlie Kirk as a hero. The psychological operation has become so complete, so well oiled. The social engineers and psychological operators have the deceit so fine-tuned that they have people like Awaken with JP telling his audience that Charlie Kirk is a hero whose death devastated us all. They're actually speaking for all of us.
Charlie Kirk was an absolute hero and should always be remembered as such. In his very unfair passing, I know it's left so many of us devastated, heartbroken, grieving, filled with anger. And then we remember not only was he a truth crusader, he was a husband and a father.
A guy who is pushing political warmongering, obedience to Israel, supporting a guy who gave the biggest increase to the military industrial complex and the prison industrial complex, who welcomed in Palantir's Peter Thiel to take over the predictive policing surveillance state in America like they're doing in Israel. The overseer of the greatest power and wealth transfer under the CARES Act, $6.2 trillion, a guy who was paid off and bought off by Rothschild's Inc. back in the 1990s when Atlantic City and Atlantic City Taj Mahal was upside down financially.
Doesn't know that took Charlie's life from him is his work will far outlive him. I'll tell you why that's true in a second. But first, from my point of view, Charlie's life's work was about doing God's work. And he did that through the form of standing for truth, freedom, family values, and America. Charlie
Kirk said a lot of things that were in accordance with truth. And I'm going to go over some of those in the upcoming days with a couple of videos because there are some positive things that he said. But Charlie Kirk stood for statism. He pushed politics. Politics is the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding the chains of their own enslavement. Charlie Kirk pushed rightist statism, just like anybody on the left pushes leftist statism. And what people fail to understand is both sides are on the same road heading in the same direction. They just happen to be in a different ditch. It's two wings of the same bird of prey. It's the left and the right. So the question is, do you want the left boot of tyranny on your neck or the right boot of tyranny? Because Charlie Kirk was not a truth seeker. He was a pusher of the right boot of tyranny. Just as Obama and Biden and everybody who support them support and cheerlead for the violence of the left boot of tyranny. But both sides support violence while they claim to be Christians and doing God's work. And then there's this guy at Langley Outdoors also buying into the PSYOP when he says things like this.
Guys, something just happened. Something very significant. What we're about to walk through is something that I need you guys to send out because the left just blinked. They are absolutely terrified. They know the hornet's nest that they just kicked. They understand the thing that they hold the most dear in this entire planet, political aspiration and power and control, is directly under threat because
political aspiration of power and control is exactly what the right is after. They have political aspirations. They want the ring of power. They want the reins of control. That's what politics is about. We've got to get our guy behind the president's seat so he can affect change and he can set the policies. So he can sign the bills and do the executive orders and be the one in control to control people who don't want to be controlled. And the left is saying the same thing. I want Biden, I want Harris, I want Obama. I want them sitting in the president's seat so that they can set the policies and enact the executive orders that are going to control everybody else. What if you don't want to be controlled? You're going to cheerlead for the violence and evil and deception and robbery of the state when you embroil yourself in politics. And this is what he's playing into. And this is the biggest psychological operation known to man, because this is what keeps us shackled and begging for our shackles. That's why when you go to the voting booth, it's the slave suggestion box. You're pushing that button and you're pulling that lever for a member of the ruling class to not only rob and rule you, but also rob and rule your neighbor who may not want to be robbed and ruled. So you're participating in the chains of your own oppression. And by the way, when you get that guy in office with your vote, your support, your voice, every time he drops a bomb, he does it with your name. Your name is on that bomb that's blowing up those children. Your name is on those bombs that are shipped to Israel, that are launched over into Gaza, that cause severe damage and harm and injury. You are participating in the cycle of violence. And that's how successful the PSYOP has been. And these guys right here, him and And this guy right here, they're getting you to participate in it, wittingly or unwittingly. I don't know if they're on the dole. People are calling this guy right here a Fed. I don't know if he's a Fed or not. Doesn't matter to me if he is or not. I do know that he's taking you, he's giving you a ticket and he's saying, hey, it's safety over there. And you're just going to head toward a cliff, the cliff of destruction. They're all sending you there. And it all happens through the psychological operation. But this guy continues. And by the way, these guys get massive. This guy's just uploaded this like a little over a day ago. It's almost got 1 million views. Awaken with JP, almost 309,000 views. This guy right here, 250,000 views. These guys get massive views because they're being pushed into the algorithm, because the people who own the social media platforms like this channel does not get millions of views because they're not pushing this out. Because when you free a mind, the mind doesn't care who's in office. He's not going to obey. The best way we can end this political circus and this dog and pony show is mass non-compliance. It's not going to do to be dozens, hundreds, thousands, or a couple million. We've got to wake the minds of a lot of people up who go, we don't even care who's in Congress. We're not going to pay what you want us to pay. Nope. Come and get, oh, you want to take our guns? Come and get them. And everybody just align and everybody just unite on what is good, not what is politically expedient, not what you can get on it out of it through special interest and political kickbacks and favors.
Made 10 million Charlie Kirks. This man's
That's true. That's true.
Ultimate sacrifice is spawning the ultimate victory against the very people that I'm about to show you. I count myself as one of them. I know you guys do as well. The importance of what I'm about to show you is not only what the left is
He counts himself as one of the Charlie Kirks.
Doing and how they are blinking. They are actively afraid. But I'm also going to show you how we're responding. This is national. This is global. Guys, this has not been seen since MLK Jr. I'm telling you, we are at the beginning of a civil rights movement. This is really important, and make sure.
And the civil rights movements, as even Charlie Kirk said, you can read one of my tweets on Twitter. I may do a video on it because it really is important. As Charlie Kirk pointed out, the Civil Rights Act, which became a law, actually enslaved all of us, every single one of us. It increased the power of the Fed and decreased the power of the people, and it costs us more money. It devalued our dollar, which is a devaluation of our time and labor. And the same thing with this PSYOP right here. It's going to do the exact same thing. They're going to enact the Charlie Kirk law. The more laws they enact, the less freedom you have. And people like this and Heavy Duty Country and Awaken with JP and all the rightists and all the leftists are feeding into this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, nonstop.
I want to set the tone really quickly for you. One thing that the left never does, and I study these people, it's my full-time job, this is what I do as a political analyst on the Second Amendment community. They never blink. They always stay on message. They always speak in a hive mind. They never show remorse. They never, ever, ever do anything against the overarching narrative that has been sent out.
The same exact thing applies to the right. They never blink. They operate on the hive mind. If you've ever been a part of a delegation for a major national election, I was back in 2012. I was a delegate for Ron Paul. We went to Norman, Oklahoma. That's where we had our little thing right there versus Mitt Romney. Hands down in the Oklahoma Assembly, Ron Paul took it 100%. Governor Mary Fallon comes. They separate us. They partition the room. The big curtains close. They turn off our mics, and they conducted, without the voice of the people being heard, all the voices of the people being heard, they conducted their own election. Oklahoma went with Mitt Romney instead of Ron Paul. It's all a dog and pony show. They had a collective hive mind. They got orders from above. It's going to be Romney who's going to go against Obama that year so that they can have Obama win. Forget about Ron Paul. He's not going to be in there. And at that moment, I saw, you know what? The thing that people think politics is, it isn't. It's the exact opposite. It's a complete dog and pony show. It's a deception. It's a bunch of juggling clowns under the big top doing God knows what, and the people think that they actually have power when they have zero power. So whatever condemnation this guy right here has for the left, the same exact thing applies to the right, which makes him, who's self-admittedly a part of the right, a hypocrite. And anybody who lobs a complaint or a condemnation against the left, the exact complaint and condemnation can come against you. Hive mind on the left, hive mind on the right, psychological operation complete, and the banksters win.
Particularly apologize or deflect blame. Not directly like what I'm about to show you. Listen to this, and all of this stuff is going to line up really nicely. I'm telling you, something's happening, and they are terrified. Let's get it.
People don't have any intention of saying something that's going to lead to something dangerous, but we cannot take responsibility for the minds that are out there and how they hear it.
Now, why is that so massively important? It's so massively important because the entire population knows that the decade of rhetoric that they've been ramping up with the vitriol of pretty much hellhounds against anybody who disagrees with them politically, and they've garnered a net political aspiration and power from it. They know that that dog is literally turning around and about to bite them right on the butt politically. Because Nancy Pelosi does not do that. Nancy Pelosi does not go down the road of saying, well, we can't be held responsible for what someone said and how they took what we said. Really? Well, let's continue this a little bit. And again, I'm going to show you what we're doing on the other side and how it's 10 million times more powerful than what she just said. Okay? This is really key, guys. We are at the turning point of an entire nation.
What he's saying, he's using a lot of buzzwords. What he's saying about there's 10 million times more and we're at a turning point. He is literally talking about Turning Point USA and the fact that the left has just created 10 million more Charlie Kirks. Guess what? He's 100% wrong. It's not the left that has produced all those Charlie Kirks. It's the psychological operation, which is controlled by the people who control both the left and the right. The psychological operators knew what would happen when they offed MLK. They know what's going to happen when a Charlie Kirk is gone. Basically, you've made this guy a myth. You've made him a legend. And now when people are following a myth, when they're following the legend, it's going to be almost impossible to speak truth and logic to them because all they know is emotion. Like this guy right here, all he now knows is emotion. He is hyped up on the fact that, hey, you killed Charlie Kirk. You just unleashed hell. You have no idea what you have unleashed, according to Erica Kirk.
Take part in it, be active in it. You will remember this for the rest of your lives. Let's keep on going. Here's Nancy Pelosi and a myriad of other Democrats saying very similar things. But remember, they can't be held responsible for how people interpret what they say, right? Interpretation, putting it on the person. Yeah, look at this.
You know why there aren't uprisings all over the country? Maybe there will be.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
You got to be ready to throw a punch. You have to be ready to throw a punch.
Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
That I thought he should have punched him in the face.
I feel like punching him.
I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school. If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Take him out now.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Please, get up in the face of some Congress people.
People will do what they do.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
We're going to go in there, we're going to...
This is just a warning to you.
This is basically what Erica Kirk said. You have no idea what you have unleashed. See, the current PSYOP was not just intended to kill Charlie Kirk and silence his voice. It was designed to immortalize him and amplify his voice, just like they did with Lincoln, just like they did with MLK. And I would not be surprised if we have a Charlie Kirk memorial and a Charlie Kirk Day before Trump leaves office. Because, you know, one assassin's bullet, whoever the assassin may be, I don't believe it's who the FBI says it is, placed in the right victim at the right time will create and does create a horde of new, highly enthusiastic followers that'll join the victims movement, virtually rendering them impervious to any variation of the victim's mission.
Trumpers, be careful. Walk lightly. And for those of you who are soldiers, make them pay.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
And by the way, yeah, they are creating soldiers on the left and soldiers on the right, because the mission of the movement is to create millions of obedient followers who will passionately and ceaselessly carry the torch for the state, for politics.
Yeah. Can't be held responsible for the way people interpret that language. It's weird, isn't it? Guys, the reason that we're going down this road is I am literally going to play this stuff and I'm going to just bang on this drum all freaking day, because they built the temperature up in this room. They loaded the proverbial gun, not the actual one, the proverbial gun, and then they handed it to somebody who is not mentally sane. You watch that montage right there and you tell me how the left is the party of inclusion, peacefulness. But guys, you can't be concerned with how people take what they say. Yeah. Okay. Well, now let me show you how we're handling this on the right. When I say that genuinely we are changing the world, here's what's happening right here. And again, this would not have happened if Charlie Kirk did not pay the ultimate sacrifice for something bigger than himself. Listen to this. This is what's happening across the nation.
By the way, in psychological operations, Psychological Operations 101 is the more truthful it is, the more peaceful it looks, the more tame it looks, the more rational it looks, the more powerfully deceptive it is. And that's what we've got. Now, he's right about the leftists. They are frickin' losing. A lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them are losing their frickin' minds. They're losing their humanity. Some of them looks like they've completely lost their humanity by dancing in the streets for the murder of a dude they don't even know because they didn't like what he said. They have a gross misunderstanding of what he said. They have mischaracterizations. They have clips taken out of context, and they judge that they're basically judging a fantasy of who they think Charlie Kirk is. They don't even know what Charlie Kirk is all about. They don't even truly know what Charlie Kirk's position is with regard to black people or Hispanic people or gun rights or the Second Amendment. None of that. So he's going to show the contrast of the insanity of the left and the peacefulness and the humility and the spirituality of the right. And by the way, who wouldn't want this over burning tires and broken windows in our streets under Black Lives Matter? I would way rather have this than masked bandits in our streets.
You tell me we're done. Come here.
Flipping cars.
You tell me there's nothing left in the tank. You tell me America's best days are not in front of it. You've got people in New Hampshire standing there singing Amazing Grace in unison with people they don't even know. That's just New Hampshire. Let's go back. All right, let's jump over here.
This is so shallow and so juvenile that it's almost like he's attempting to suspend critical thinking in his audience. Now, I'm sure he has good intentions, but good intentions will always be pleaded and displayed for every assumption grabbing of power and authority. It's not too strong to say that the Constitution was made to guard against the dangers of good intentions. There are men in all ages who mean to govern well, but they mean to govern. They promise to be good masters, peaceful masters, reverent masters, religious masters, but they mean to be your masters. Daniel Webster said that, 200 and something years ago? And he was right. I'm sure Braden has good intentions. I'm sure that JP has good intentions. I'm sure Dan has good intentions, but these good intentions are extremely misguided because the psychological operations and magic, the magic spell has been cast on these people, and they're basically infecting their audiences with it. So I'm going to leave this right here. There's not much more left. We were listening to this on 1.25 speed, but he's showing the difference between how the left acts and goes crazy and insane, and how the right acts in all peacefulness and humility and spirituality. But the bottom line is it leads you down the same status road of voting for political parasitic masters and a ruling class that is bent on doing violence in your name, whether it's left or if it's right. Leave your thoughts about this in the comments below. Don't subscribe. Don't hit the bell notification icon. Don't share this video and don't like this video. And If you want, I'll see you in the next one.